guys, we are back with another project on the toy hauler conversion. And as usual, I don't have a whole lot of time to get it done in, which that's pretty much how we roll around here. But I'll show you what I'm getting into. I already have the trailer tore apart, and it's quite the mess in here with pieces and parts and camping gear everywhere. But what we're doing is I'm installing a mini split for some heat and air. And so this is a I looked at so many. This one's a Della 12,000 BTU, 110 volt, 20 SEER. So hopefully it'll do the job. There's the air handler. I guess I can get you guys down there where you can actually see it. And like I said, there's the compressor unit. But where I'm at is these. I don't know if you don't know anything about mini splits, you have to have a water drain, and usually these are mounted on the air handlers back here are mounted on an exterior wall, and you just run the tubes through the side here, or you can turn this and go straight out the back here, or you can go out that side. But normally these are mounted on an exterior wall. You just drill a big hole, you hook all your tubes up here. This is a pressure line, and then let's see, there's the other line, and this is your drain. And but the problem is these tubes, you can run them anywhere you want to, but this line here has to be, you know, downhill the whole way, so that way your condensation water will drain out. So that makes mounting it on a trailer a little bit difficult, unless you're going to mount it like on the front wall where you're going to run your hoses straight through, or if you're okay with running your hoses straight through the outside of the trailer. But I am not. So my plan here is, the way this trailer was built, has all this corner trim, and they run their wires and stuff behind of it. And of course you can see my insulation back there and the wall framing, and there's the roof framing up here. But there's quite a bit of room back there, so more than enough room to run the two compressor lines. But I can't run, when I mount that on the wall, I can't run the drain tube up and along with all those and then out and down, because it won't drain, obviously, because it has to go up first. So my plan here is I drilled a hole through my wall paneling here, and I have cut out a notch in my insulation here, and you can see I already have the tube down there running through the bottom of the trailer and sticking out down there. And so I'm going to pull this up and stick it through that wall paneling there like this, and I'm going to run my drain out there, and then I will run the compressor lines out the end here and up, and then behind of my trim up there, and go out the front of the trailer to the compressor. So to get here, I had to take off, of course, all the trim up there. This lower channel that holds the bottom trim in went all the way back here before it split. So I had to take all this off to get this bottom piece of trim off, so that way I could get this one sheet of paneling off. And I had to take the door trim off, I had to take trim off down there, all just to get this off to run the drain. But I got my hole there for the drain. I got my mounting plate for the air handler screwed up there, and I just cut me a piece of scrap steel, because this is 3/8 paneling, plywood paneling, but I wanted something a little more stout, so I just added a piece of metal there and some self-tapping screws through, because this other side over here is actually going to be on this stud here and screwing into it. And the other one's going to be right here. You can see where I've already marked the hole. Right there. And then the other one's going to be right there. But I'm going to screw that up there. So probably not going to be much video of me actually doing the stuff. Like I said, I'm in a bit of a time crunch. So I'll just show you the highlights. But I'm going to get back after it and see if I can't put this paneling back in. Because, I mean, the chances that our trailers are built identical is rare. So, I mean, as far as getting the paneling in and out of your trailer, it depends on how you've built the trailer, or how the trailer was built, on what you have to do to get it tore apart, and what you're willing to do as far as running your lines and stuff. If you want to run it right straight out the wall and down the side, all the more power to you, because it'd make it a whole lot easier. But I don't want it run like that, so I'm going to get this paneling put back in place and see if I can get it, get the tube ran up through and everything screwed back down. And then I'm going to move on to running my AC lines, and then I think I'm going to have to work on building the mount for the compressor outside. So I'll be back when there's something worth showing. Alright guys, just a little progress update. I got the cord wired in, electric cord. Feed it in through the back, open the panel on the front, take a couple of the covers off for the electrical connections. The connections are labeled black, white, red, and your green and yellow. And at least on this model anyhow, loosen your screws. There's a little plate in there under the screw. Put your wire connection under the plate and then crank her back down, tighten things up. Run your wire out. Make sure you keep your drain on the bottom so that it doesn't go up and over anything. I got the wire, or the line set attached and wrapped, and I have no idea how this stuff stays like that, because it is not sticky at all. I mean, that's it. It doesn't, it won't stick to nothing, and like it doesn't even really stick to itself. See, I can see if I can hold you guys so I can show you. See, I mean, that don't. So I don't know how it's staying like that. I couldn't really get it to stay on the end, so when I got there, I just held it and put a wrap of electrical tape around it to keep it from unwrapping. So that's where I'm at. I got the wall put back together, the brackets mounted, drain tube is in the wall. I think next I'm going to have to get my wife to help me, because I'm going to need multiple hands to run the line set up and around. And I'm going to hang the air handler here, so that way I can see exactly how much line set I have to deal with after I get the bins and all that stuff figured out, so I can figure out where to put the hole through the front of the trailer up there. But that's my next part. Alright, update 2. We got a hung. The line's just laying up there. Everything's been going pretty much like a normal mini split install in a house, except for like the drain line, which I showed you. And now the other thing is these brackets, it's up there and it's bolted. The flex and stuff is in the plastic housing that's snapped around the main bracket. But as far as like it's pretty solid, and I don't think it's going to go anywhere. But you know, the way you put these on is you hook them over the top and then snap the bottom in, and then to get them off you just simply pick them straight up, pull the bottom out, and it'll come out. So you know, for a house that's fine, because the walls don't bounce up and down in a house. But for me, for a little added peace of mind, I took and made a couple little wood blocks. I don't know if that's, and just screwed them in right above the thing, so now the air handler can't go up. So I'll have to take those out, take it off the wall, but I mean, I'll have to take a lot of stuff apart because I'm gonna try to get these bent up here and around. But another thing that I wished I'd have done is I wished I would have hooked up the line sets, hung it on the wall here, and then bent each line individually up and got them pretty much where they went, and then took it back down and wrapped them, because it'd have been a whole lot easier to feel how much bend you're putting on each line individually than it is trying to feel how this is pretty stiff to bend both of these at the same time. And so I'm afraid that I'm going to kink them. It'd been much easier to do one at a time. If you take your time with copper and be real easy, but you can't be real easy, and you can't do just a little bit at a time like you would just a single line. With these two lines taped together, nothing wants to move. So I wished I'd have been each line first, and then got it put up there. What I may possibly do is, if I'm too worried about bending that line, I may simply just run it up and go through here and put it back against the wall, and then just build a cover that would go right here above the door and above the door, and only stick out, you know, in 2 inches maybe, and just cover this area here, and maybe, you know, put a Home Sweet Home sign on it or something, and just use it as decoration to hide that line set. And that may be what I do, because that may be a lot easier than trying to... I was going to just bend this up as tight as I could get it, and then back, and then go see what kind of vinyl, or, you know, like conduit or thin wall sewer line or something, see what I could find that would fit and look decent, and, you know, like just glue it together and cut the back out, and you know, paint it white, and then just put it over top of it, and put a couple fasteners on it to clamp it to the wall. Won't call it good, but I'm not sure I'm going to get it bent up there as sharply as what I would like to look decent. So like I said, I may just leave that on the wall for right now, and just basically go straight up there and then across, and I'll just build something at a later date when I have more time to cover it up the rest of the way. Alright guys, another little update. I think we left off, that was mounted, but I got the line set routed a little more like I wanted it to. Got fastened up, got a hole through the front of the camper, and the line sets run outside. And then I'll show you outside real quick. I just built my own bracket, but the house brackets that you can buy, the universal brackets just mounted on the side of the house, I don't see any reason why those wouldn't work. I just went ahead and built mine because I had the stuff. So, but this is all 1-inch square tubing, and got the line set coming out there. I'm gonna get it sealed off when I get done bending the line all around stuff. But I bolted clear through the wall framing to the inside, and then which, you know, I expect these to hold everything, and then these are just to keep it from being able to bounce up and down. But it's solid. I mean, I'm 175 pounds, and I can do a pull-up off of it without anything happening. So I think it'll be just fine, because that wall on the inside is fastened to the fridge and the cabinets and stuff in there. So for anything to pull out, it'd have to pull the whole fridge and everything through the wall as well. So she ain't going nowhere. But that's where we're at now. I'm going to get the compressor unit mounted up there so I can get those lines bent around and hooked up, and then we'll be ready to pull vacuum and stuff. But that's pretty much it so far. Alright guys, got her all finished up. Got trim all up, so the coolant lines are hid except for that part there, and I'll try to figure out something to cover those up. But I mean, it's not the worst thing possible. Drain lines in the wall. I think that's one of the main differences between a house install and this install, is just hiding the line set in the trim and running that drain tube down the wall and out the bottom. I'm gonna trim that off so it's not sticking down there, but got the outside unit all mounted up. Got the wiring ran down. I gotta fasten it up too. It's the only other thing I got left. Got the line set run through the front there and got that all sealed up. Got this you can see the part of the trailer's in the shade and the front of it here's in the sun, and this side's in the shade. But as the sun comes on around, this side here will be in the sun this afternoon. So, and this does have, you know, 1-inch insulation in the walls and the ceiling, but so that's like an R5. And I found this temperature gauge here, this thermometer. I don't know if you guys can see that. It's just about, I can't even see it. Probably about 88 is what it says, because it's 86 outside. Yeah, I'd say it's about 88, 86, 88, something like that. I don't know if you guys can see it better than I can. But I'm gonna turn her on and see what goes on. I got it set at 75. And she's running. And that's a high fan speed. That's as loud as it is. So I'm going to leave her run this afternoon, and when I get home tonight, I'm going to check the temperature and see what it is. I'm going to leave the temperature gauge right there, and that's the thermostat. So those two are set together, so hopefully it gets temperature down to 75 and kicks off. Alright guys, home from work, and it is currently 88 degrees out. You can see that, and the thermostat, or the mini split, set at 75, and it's about 76, maybe 78. I don't know. It feels good in here though. So I think for the trailer sitting in the sun and as hot as it was today, this will definitely work. All right, everybody, just gonna do some closing thoughts on the mini split. Should have done it 2 years ago, according to my wife, and I agree. It's so much nicer, heat or air. We used it last night, and we had to use the heat, and it's so much better than the electric space heaters that we used to use. Didn't have to worry about any cords getting hot, and trying to get a temperature that stays the same all night through when the temperature's changing was impossible. We was always too hot when we went in to go to bed, and we'd turn them down, and then in the middle of the night when it got cold, then it would get cold in the camper, and we'd have to get up and turn them up, and it's so much nicer this way. But we've only hauled it just one short trip with it. Everything worked fine. I got a cover on Amazon to slide down over, and I looked and I found several, and I just kept looking through them, and all of a sudden this one pops up and it was like $9.99. And it's like, that'll work to try it out. I covered it, so I've heard people complain about their fans breaking from going down the road in the wind, and that is my one complaint about it that I can see, is that it vibrates. And as quiet as it is outside, when you go inside, you can hear the vibrations from it, even though I have it mounted on rubber, and then I have the mounts I have rubber between the mounts and the camper, and you can still hear the vibration inside. So I gotta assume if that fan got to spinning way faster than it's supposed to, that it could just vibrate itself apart and shatter. So I put the cover over it. It works okay, but you know, as with anything cloth, when you're going down the road, it wants to whip around and stuff. So I think what I'm going to do is, I'm still going to use that cover. I'm just going to make something, use like a piece of plexi or maybe a piece of aluminum that I got, and just, you know, attach it to some straps so that I can just throw the cover on, throw the aluminum over a couple, you know, put like a big sheet on the front and maybe a little one on the top or on the side, and then one on the top, just to cut down on the amount of material that can whip around, and then, you know, just cinch that down tight. But other than that, everything's working good. It heats, it cools, does everything it said it's going to do. It's super quiet. Should have done it a long time ago. It has definitely been well worth the money and the time putting it in there. So I'll let you know though if I have any problems. We're getting ready to go the middle of this month, September. We're going to head to Kentucky. So it'll be like a 4.5 hour drive and headed down the freeway. So we'll see how it does at, you know, 75 and all the bouncy roads. So otherwise, that's been the mini split install, and thanks for watching. We'll catch you in the next one.